I haven't done a talk in a while. Maybe you've missed my face. It's 5 a.m. It's the most beautiful time in the morning here in Japan. And the point of this talk, I'm a little sleepy, so I'm here just stretching my legs, is to talk about how do we fix this massive problem. You know, there is a massive problem. And there's all these people talking about it. And the root of the problem is the corporation. That's the root of the problem. That's the evil. And the problem is that we have 1% controlling the world, okay, through the corporation. And even when you have employee-owned corporations like Enron, you know, there's really no control because the governance is controlling everything, right? So we need a radical change. We need to rethink the corporation, rethink what I call the closed corporation into something I have defined as the open corporation. So the open corporation, before I tell you how we're going to bring out this massive change very quickly, in the course of 5 years, in 5 years, we could have 100,000 companies, or a good percentage of those launched, okay, maybe 20% of those. And continually, every year, launching 1 million, 10 million, 100 million companies all around the world. We can completely reinvent. But before I tell you how we're going to do that, let me explain what an open corp is. Number one, it's 100% fiscally transparent to stakeholders. Okay, stakeholders is if I have like for example, if Exxon is in a community and it's drilling, that's a stakeholder. Okay, that community has a vote, has a right for that business in that community. If I'm doing business with that person, like selling a product, and I'm a stakeholder, I have a vote in expressing, kind of like government. Think of a corporation kind of like our government, and think of the stakeholders as voters in that government. Okay. So one is they're 100% transparent fiscally, so they can't hide money or anything. All their books are open 100%. Where they're going to put money in and everything else, and it's transparent. Okay. Number two is their ISO 26000 responsible. Since and the ISO goes a really long way in defining kind of what a corporation needs to be. So I use the word responsible because it's not a certification or anything else. It's responsible. You're responsible for meeting those goals. Okay, they're responsible. ISO 26000 responsible. Number three is, again, the leadership is answerable to its stakeholders. So every 5 years or 10 years, just as you have to get a vote of confidence. Now, I don't want to put term limits on the CEO. That's kind of dumb. But you need to be get a vote of confidence. If you don't get a vote of confidence in 3 subsequent years, if you don't get one, then you have to get the next year. If you don't get one, you don't get the next year, then you're out. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is soba. One of my things about the bees. Right here, look at all these flowers here for bees. You don't see any bees buzzing around. These poor little soba. So look at them. Here, look at all my. This shit is grown up. This is soba. And there's no bees. Where's our bees? So I'm gonna put bees out here. Yeah, put bees. I can put bees out here. Just boom, 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 down this aisle down here. Community bee farm here. It's my area. All right, back on the talk. So the leadership has to get vote of confidence every 5 years, and if they don't get it, if they miss 3, something has to change, right? So if we don't like the way you're doing business, if you're not making the change, look at this guy here. Where are you going? He's going to town. He's just taking a trip. I don't know if you see that there, earthworm. This is my hand. That's a pretty big earthworm. Come on, buddy. Hey. Look at him go. He's like a snake. He's trying to poop out. I'm not trying to hurt you. I can't get up. Okay, I'm trying to save you, you dumb guy. There, saved him. So, the adventures of doing a talk in Japan. They come out because the concrete's warmer, so they kind of come out to the heat, and then they can't burrow, and then they're kind of stuck. Basically, they have to be answerable to their stakeholders, right? Actually, I think to their employees, and all of this is in the articles of incorporation, all right. And the fourth thing is they invest. Invest is a key word, not donate. Invest up to 80% of their net revenue, not gross revenue, net revenue. It's kind of like after all the bills are paid, and they got all this surplus. Imagine imagine all this money, for example, that these companies have made in Iraq and stuff. All these people just getting filthy rich. Look at Halliburton is a good example, right? And all the subsidiaries, all these companies getting super rich off their stakeholders. So someone's ball there, baseball. Put that ball there. It's just going to who? The 1%. So again, the employees are the stakeholders. Look at that guy there, just flying off. I don't know what that is. From a duck. All sorts of wildlife, 5 in the morning in Japan. Huh. So the stakeholders decide, I think it's stakeholders, everyone, right, where the money goes. So it's just like the voters, like if you live in a constituency, you would vote where you want done, right? A company has to a company has to replace the form of local government. The idea of government doing it all and taxing government, I mean, that's the Mayan way, right? The 5,000-year-old Mayan calendar, that's what we did for 5,000 years, is the government was in charge. The new model is what I call this open corp. So the open corp, just to go, is basically 100% transparent, fiscally transparent. It can't be 100% like meetings and stuff because you're dealing with stuff maybe dealing with proprietary stuff. Number 2, ISO 26000 responsible. Number 3, leadership must get a vote of confidence every 5 years. If they fail if they fail 3 consecutive ones, he's out. He's gone. Number 4, they will invest, not donate, invest up to 80%, minimum 20%, up to 80% into what I call sustainable social ventures. New startups, new found-ups, whatever, as we'll talk about. Okay, so that's an open corp. Okay, it's open. The other thing about an open corp, and for found-ups corp, we're an open corp in the sense that we're the big mama of the open corp. Anyone can join our corporation. So we're a true open corp. So we're like the mama. Hold on, I'm trying to get this thing off here. We're the mama corp. And ultimately, how are we going to bring this about? Right? Is your question? How do we do this? Right? Well, it's real simple. Incubators are not scalable. I mean, if you talk, I interviewed actually the guy from the Founders Institute. And that was his big thing: is how do we scale up Founders Institute? We just can't scale it up fast enough. Well, you can't. The reason why is because you're dealing with an institutional model. An institutional model needs a team and all this, and it's just not scalable, right? It just isn't. It's not like, look at how fast Wikipedia has grown. Look at how fast open source software has grown. Look at anything that's a collaborative, uses like Twitter. All these are collaborative frameworks, right? So we need a collaborative framework, and I've basically been working on a collaborative framework for, really for 15 years. I did my first I accidentally stumbled into it when I did the Southern Shakespeare Festival, and I spent pretty much the last 3 years really thinking about it, just you know, in rural Japan, away from all the social noise and everything else, just in my head, thinking about the systemic problems and thinking about what the solutions would be, and you know, basically coming up with a blueprint, right? And we're at a stage now where what I want to do is see if we can now take what I've come up with and test it on 100 found-ups. Now, these 100 found-ups we call the Alpha 100, right? So the alpha, these are alphas. Alpha, and then there's beta. There's a lot of reasons for alpha. Our logo is a dog, so alpha goes with the dog, right? Startups have betas, we have alphas, right? We're kind of a pre-startup. And basically, the goal here is to take and to test the found-up, and all we need to do is launch 2. If we launch 2 found-ups out of our 100, we're doing better than the startup, okay? If we launch anything more than 2, it's just increased valuation. So we tested on 100. If we do it fine, then basically the next year, and every year we're celebrating the end of the Mayan calendar. So the whole idea here is we launch in December 2012, which is the end of the Mayan calendar, right? And then the following year we celebrate the end of the Mayan calendar. It's like we're going to constantly celebrate the end of the Mayan calendar because it's the end of the closed corporation. The monarchy is part of that closed corporation. It's that 1% trying to govern and take control of everything, right? So, and there's people a lot more, what's the word, articulate, you know, like Aaron Ross. Great, you know, I did a video on that. You can watch my Aaron Ross video. Just type found-ups Aaron Ross. And he's just, you know, he's very articulate, and he talks about, you know, the 1%, the evildoers that are out there. And they're not evil, they just don't know. It's kind of like an ignorant child who's been given a candy shop, right, as food, and all he knows is going to the candy shop. Well, this is what's been done for 5,000 years, right? So, you know, how am I evil? Just the way it's been done. Well, it's just ignorance, and what we need to do is provide, you know, what I call self-actualization. And if we can then, because understand, if they're found up, then ultimately we dictate their what they are when they launch. So when they launch, you know, think of it like, you know, you bring a play to me, right? To, you know, let's say I'm a producer, you bring a play, you lose control of that play for me to launch as a product, right? It's a great idea. We're going to test it. We're going to validate it. In validation, we team build. We build the prototype and get secure in the prototype. We bring together the customers. It's very simple, right? It's our process. And it's like a scorpion. Oh, it's not. He's just in defensive mode. It's one of those little ear things, but he had a big old thing up there. So, and then basically, so 2012, we launch 100, and we kick off the next one, and then we launch 1,000, and then the following year, 2014, we do 10,000, and then 2015 we do 100,000. It's that simple. So we just keep scaling up, and then on 2015 we also do our IPO, and there's a lot more to the found up, you know, and then we have basically, if you're willing to sign an NDA, if you're willing to, talk to me, I'll share with you my research and everything else, and you can do your due diligence. But basically what we're doing is we're providing what I call an open incubator framework, that it's a collaborative framework, or I'm starting to use the word community versus institution, right? The institution versus the community. That will allow anyone to validate, team build. Look at this little guy, caterpillar. So, as you can see here, if you're going to die, put you there. Give you some saving the insects here. Need to leave here more often. So I hope you enjoyed this talk. I know it's kind of long, convoluted. I got distracted with some of the wildlife here, and the point is this: is that we can fix the problem. We can do it. We can scale it very quickly because we're using an open framework versus a closed framework. We're not going to fix the problems using this traditional corporate framework and using the traditional opening, the incubators, the Y Combinators and stuff, and everything else. Here's another guy. Ultimately, I'm looking for folks to get behind me, right, and to help me and to join what I'm doing. You can go to foundups.org. That's foundupsplural.org. You can email me at mike@foundups.org. And check out our blog at foundupsblog.com. I got a spider web on me here. And, tell me what you think. I've got over, nearly 700, well, I have over 700 videos online now. And, I've been kind of working at this for quite a while. You'll see my other talks on e-singularity and Eduit and a lot of other things. And ultimately, we can make a very significant difference to the world. We can do it very quickly, and all I need is some people with influence behind me. I'm just a guy living in rural Japan, so think of me as kind of like coming out of the desert and bringing the message according to the open corporation. So can you help me?